Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Ascension Teachings. Now I'm going into part 2 of E.T. Raças, and as I said in the last episode as well, this is either what I've interacted with or got intel on, so let's get on with it. We'll start off with Hoto from Orion. So he has access to all dimensions, and his origin is from a system behind Aonitak in Orion, similar place near where Penke is from as well. And the history is after many lifetimes with Hoto, he's attained the rainbow light body, which we're going to be going more into later in this series as well. And to some he appears in humanoid form, which he looked like before he attained his rainbow light body. Now his agenda, he's in pure service mode and he's assisting those in self-mastery mode as well. So those that are doing the inner work, he's assisting those, and you can call upon him as well. So the environment where he is, it's very Earth-type planet with a purple sky, and there's like tulips and flowers that are like massive on there. It's very overcast and rains a lot, but that's where he's on that planet. There is a desert-type environment there as well. As you know, very similar to Earth in some of these places. Now, Nathea, this is a being from Sirius. He's a pretty cool dude. He's spiritually advanced and he's an explorer, but he's also a bounty hunter for the Syrian Empire. So he's got a pretty crazy job, and they've got jobs out there for beings. Similar to what they have on Star Wars with one of the bounty hunters on there. These guys do exist, but there's many different types for with many different agendas for different factions that they work for, and some are rogue as well. So he's trained and specialised in spiritual practices, self-defense and weaponry. Has a reputation to the Federation, Star Nations and the Syrian Empire as a guy, as a being who gets things done. Now the environment, he comes from an aquatic type planet in the 5th dimension near Sirius B. Now his ships look futuristic and he's got different types. There's a saucer that he's on, and there's also a triangular type craft that he uses as well. Now this is a pretty cool being. I just call him Leo. He looks like a leopard, and so he's from the Leo constellation, funny enough as well, and he's 6th dimensional. And he's assisting those going through self-mastery with the focus on love and happiness. And the environment he's from is like a tropical paradise, just like on Earth. When I go there and interact with him, I'm just on this beautiful beach with palm trees and a beautiful ocean, very similar to ours. And he's an advanced master teacher as well. So when I'm meditating, sometimes he bleeds through, and like I've said in an earlier episode, my intention is whatever I need to learn or experience today, I'm open to it. And that's how a lot of these interactions have happened, is me not controlling the contact but initiating it, which we'll go through even more later with the series. But that's how it happens. It's just opening up and just being open to what you need to experience to evolve, and of course do a clearing beforehand. Now this is Mangara from Sirius. He's a 5th dimensional being, and he's from the race called the Maha. He's very advanced spiritually and technologically. One of the head meeting places in galactic universities is located on their home world in Sirius, and they have many other outposts located in that area as well as abroad, as I was mentioning with Kali as well. Now the agenda, spiritual advisor to the Syrian Empire. And the environment of the home world is tropical rainforest, like I was saying before. And there's many golden pyramids, obelisks, and it's very similar to Egypt. And there's lush plant life, very rainforesty type there in the location that I've been with Mangara as well. You know, again, there's dolphins and other aquatic life. You know, there's much life on and off land as well, similar to Earth. And their ships mainly look like a golden, blue and orange, and some of them look like I said before, insects in appearance. Like they're living, they've got flickering light, they're very beautiful to experience. Now this is Kahar, and he's also from Sirius. He's a lion being from the 7th dimension, and this particular type resides in Sirius. However, there's other types of beings, as I said, in Orion and Lyra as well as outside the galaxy, and even in other places in the Milky Way galaxy, I'm sure. And he's a protector being of the Lyrians, the Anunnaki. So these beings, they worked a lot with humanoid type races, many different types of beings that are in service mode, and they protect them. And what happened was with the Anunnaki, the Lyrians, when they divided into different factions, the faction that went into service to self, they lost the protection from these beings due to them not being in service mode anymore. And their ships mainly appear in golden, white or green orbs structured from light. However, the orbs can also appear in any colour or rainbow like in nature as well. The reptilians. So there's many types of reptilians. I'm just going to give a brief overview, but predominantly they're in the 4th dimension. And so some are originally from outside the Milky Way galaxy, though in modern times, some reside in the Draco constellation among many other places. They have a lot of outposts and bases throughout many places that are local to our sector in the Milky Way galaxy. And there are many types of reptilians. Some are white, brown, green, yellow, red, or a mixture of colours as well. And they come in different shapes and sizes. Some of them have these ridges on them or horns, or some of them don't even have that. There's very many types of reptilians. Now, the agenda of what I've interacted with is mostly that they're worker beings for the Draco reptilians, which the Draco reptilians, their agenda is doing whatever the lower light and the artificial intelligence wants them to do. And it is now known that they are breaking up into factions due to not being able to evolve both spiritually and technologically because of their level of consciousness. So there's a splitting happening there because they're sick of doing stuff for other races, meaning the Archons and the lower light and the AI, that they're not evolving, they've peaked. And so some of them want that to change from what I know, but we've got to see it to believe it as well. So due to their level of consciousness, this is holding them back because of them not being at peace within and in service to self. So they've got to change that. Now the environment, mainly they are in underground bases or in ships in many different locations. So some of the ships appear as red orbs. They have small triangular crafts, cigar type metallic crafts, and teardrop shaped crafts as well, which they're sort of entwined. Some of them are very similar to what's in the SSP programs as well. Now here's Hema. He's a 5th dimensional Pleiadian, and history here has Lauren and Orion genetics from his parents, grew up in a pine forest in nature, connected to the land, and at a young age became very advanced spiritually with assistance from his father, who was a spiritual master from Orion. His mother also assisted with advanced teachings and practices, and she was a Lyran. Her agenda: spiritual teacher and warrior, is an advisor to the Pleiadian Council on a planet in another dimension, and also is an advisor for the Pleiadian Council to the Star Nations / Federation. Resides alone in a pine tree forest in a metallic sphere that is his home and craft as well. So when I've been there, it's pretty cool. It looks like you're in Washington State or in the Alpine District here in Australia, or like Switzerland. There's pine trees, but there's also these beautiful lakes and rivers, and there's these metallic balls just plopped around, and they've got everything in them. So basically they don't have to go anywhere. Everything's in that craft, but they can pop it up and move it and go wherever they want. So the land has natural cycles there. You know, just like on Earth, there's areas that the Aboriginals talk about that you don't build, or you shouldn't be in them at certain times with flooding and fires and things like that. So they know that, and they're prepared for that as well in their dimension. So just some food for thought as well, but it's different for them where they reside. Their environment is Earth type. It's very similar to Earth in ours, and is very similar with flora and fauna near the star Taygeta in another dimension. It has deserts, mountains, tropical environments, and also has snow and ice in some places. In the 5th dimension, everything appears more vivid and structured from light with slight geometry. And he's coming from 20,000 years in the future back when interacting with me, or when I'm going there, I'm going 20,000 years in the future. So there's a bit of a time difference there as well. And they sleep and eat a third of what humans do as well. Also, they are highly intelligent and can live up to around 1,500 years, give or take. Now the Archons. Oh, here we go. Better watch out, do a clearing. Anyway, so mainly they're in the 4th dimension, and this is them working with the artificial intelligence, which is holding a frequency for them to stay in existence as well. So originally they were the Elohim beings, but when they fell, their makeup changed. So they once were positive, they popped into this dimension, they fed into service to self, control, manipulation, and this is what's connected to, we could say, the elite and certain families and bloodlines as well, not just here on Earth, but off-world as well. So originally they divided off from the Elohim blueprint, but some decided to stay outside of Source's blueprint for good, as they liked controlling, manipulating, and dominating over other civilizations. For them to reside in this state, they had to create an artificial intelligence in order to hold a frequency to keep them in existence. The purpose of this AI was not just to have a veil so they can't be seen, but they also wanted to derive the negative energy from humans and other beings, as this is what powers and feeds feeds them and their artificial intelligence, which is spread out over the universe. Eventually they made an alliance with the beings that are focused on service to self, meaning the reptilians and serpent beings, along with many other beings. And this network is also known as the Archon Network / Lower Light. And their agenda is to control and manipulate and manufacture fear so they can continue to exist in the state that they're in. And this ascension process, whether they like it or not, they're going to have to go through it one day. As I said, the universe has its cycle where it rejuvenates, and that's what's going to happen, is that they will eventually go back to the blueprint of source, whether they like it or not. All of us do, but their journey is their journey, and what they're doing is making people like us think outside the box to obtain a higher level of consciousness. The mantis beings, pretty freaky cool looking dudes. So here we go. All right, now mainly they're from the fourth going upwards, so just something to be aware of there as well. And the origin unknown, but I know that with the wise one, the mantids are pretty much the oldest race in existence. So that's some food for thought as well. Now, there are many different types of mantid beings. A common link to these types of beings is that they are highly evolved technologically and spiritually, and they're very advanced. Some are mediators with councils due to their level of consciousness. So because they're, like, if you've ever interacted with a mantid, they're very, like, yes, it's trippy to experience when you see them, experience their energy, but they're so highly advanced that they're used as mediators a lot because they call it out. And there's a few other races like this as well. So, like the Arcturians like this. So there could be two races come to them about a situation, and they will work through the council to be mediators, and they'll just call it out. They won't be mean to either side, but they'll be like, well, you've done this, and this has been a reprisal, or, you know, an effect of what you guys have done, which has made these guys do what they've done. And so they've got detachment. They're detached to situations, which is great because they're very highly evolved through the inner work that they've done also. Environment, they seem to be explorers and residing on ships from what I've experienced, and their ships are like laboratories and like scientific sort of labs in general. So they've outlived their home stars. They keep sort of going from system to system and keep outliving them because the ones that I've interacted with, and there are many types, but they seem to just, like the wise one, incarnate once and that's it. They're throughout all existence, that's what they are. And so their ships come in various shapes and sizes, and the high dimensional ones are structured from light and come in multiple colours. So it's sort of like neon lights. Everything's structured from in the craft with sort of like a darkness background. When they want the craft cloaked, and when they turn it on, everything's sort of got it's like structured from light is the best way I can describe it. It's quite amazing to experience. Now here's a being called E.T.S. Now she's from the inner earth. She's from the race called the Lamar, and they're an offshoot race of the Lemurians as well. So they're mainly fourth dimensional beings, and her role with her race is to preserve their culture and to continue self-mastery development and to be one with nature, the earth and the universe as well. Their environment is similar to Earth's on the surface, but different. Like there's different lighting, there's different plant life, animal life. It's also honeycomb like when you get into the earth, so they naturally use crevices and open sections, and they've got their own technology to where they can make their own homes and places and things of that nature as well when building structures for their civilization's development. And they're technologically advanced and have structures, bases and civilizations which surpass that on the surface. They're very highly evolved. Now the Andromedans, we're going into the Andromeda galaxy now, the closest galaxy, though I believe maybe around 2012 what happened was the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy, they started to sort of come in together, and they're like spiraling in together. I don't see that there's been any bad byproduct from that yet. That's from what I remember. So that's what's going on at the moment. I think we're basically making one super galaxy with the two galaxies colliding from what I remember in 2012. Now, these guys don't look exactly like what you see on the picture. They basically look in humanoid form, but they're structured from light. And this race of beings have ascended in the Andromeda galaxy. They have existed for a very long time in their galaxy, ascending through all the dimensions up to the 8th. So they're in the 8th dimension right now as well. They have a perfect balance between masculine and feminine energies and are in their light body. They can either appear individually or as a collective due to them having and being able to have a collective consciousness. They're amazing healers also, and they're light body programs. They're warrior beings that can help and assist with clearing negative influences, including the lower light, Archon, Draconian network. But with that said, there are many types of beings in the Andromeda galaxy. Their agenda, they're in pure service mode assisting the Star Nations, which is part of the Super Federation in the Milky Way galaxy that represents those local to us in our neck of the woods, meaning our galaxy. They are mediators and advisors to the highest evolved beings in the Milky Way galaxy, and they also regulate, monitor and rectify and rebalance things where an injustice has been done as well. A single being from its race will, as I said, appear as an orange light being in its Merkaba, and it's like a plasma type light field that it's in. But when in a group collective, they usually appear as a cigar type craft structured from an orange light. Now we're going to end the episode here, but what I want you to do is an exercise that's more like a barrier exercise for protection. So what you can do, if you're open to it and you want to do this, you can meditate and visualize a pyramid over your home. So like 4 arcs of light going up and that are connected down the bottom. And that when you visualize that and put that there, you can give it energy that nothing is allowed to come inside your home or your environment unless it's in line with the awakening healing process of humanity, or that's a guide or a being that's working with you or your family. The other thing that you can do as well, which is a idea that works, is you can get 4 crystals, quartz. There's different types out there for protection as well, many different types. But what you can do is clear them, so you can run them in water, leave them in the sun, leave them under the moon, put them in the earth. There's many different ways that people do it. I usually just run it underwater and just start programming it. And in this case, I want you to program it with love, protection, and just thinking that nothing that's of low frequency can get past the energetic field that this is a component of. And put one on each side or each corner of your home and put that there, even the 4 corners of an apartment or something like that, and then just visualize that all that's working together, creating a pyramid. Now, yes, this is imagination. I'm getting you to work with that more because imagination is creation in the other realms. So I just want you to be aware of that. And I'm wanting you to develop more and more of that because you can start to pop open the mind's eye as well. So we'll leave it at that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we're going to continue on from here with the Ascension teachings. Thank you very much for watching.